Hope you all started your Rex Burkheads, Cedric Wilson, Greg Ward, Brian Hill, Dontrell Inman, Tyler Crofts, Andy Isabella. I mean, I have a feeling everybody had to be starting them this week, guys, right? I mean, it's just crazy. We had a great week. Rex Burkhead was your running back 1. Justin Jefferson was your wide receiver 2. Jimmy Graham, tight end 1. It's unbelievable how this week went. How excited are you guys going? Keenan, Eric?
I didn't start one of those players that you mentioned, not one.
What are you talking about?
I didn't start any of those players.
What, didn't we talk about starting all those guys last week for week 3?
I must have not been on
Missed
that.
the memo.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess everybody did miss the memo, man. We're doing rough, I guess, but yeah, it was a crazy week 3. A lot of scoring. A lot of players did do well, but like we said, the no names were kind of up on the top. I mean, speaking of tight ends, like I said, Jimmy Graham, number 1 overall tight end. He leads the league in targets inside the 10-yard line. Now Nick Foles comes in. I mean, that seems like a match made in heaven for those two guys. Tyler Croft, 2 touchdowns, tight end 2. Eric Ebron, Robert Tonyan gets all the way to tight end 5 till you see normalcy with Travis Kelce. And then Mo Alley Cox, Jesse James, Greg Olson finish out your top 10.
Kelce isn't going to finish number 1 this year. We're going to have one of those tight ends you just mentioned. We'll jump them.
Yeah, they're going to. Like I said, a lot of randomness. We're going to dive into that. Welcome into the Dynasty Mafia Podcast. I am your host, Antonio Denisi. With me, Eric and Keenan. Already talking over there, fellas. What's going on today? How was your week 3?
I mean, I'm sure you're happy with the performance Justin Jefferson had.
I am over the moon. I'm excited. I didn't see it coming this early, but it was really nice to finally see.
Why don't you tell our listeners the mistake that you made, though?
I did drop him in a couple leagues. That is a very sad point because a lot of it's fab, and I know I have to break the bank to get him back. But one of the leagues was for James Robinson, so it was kind of validated. But man, the Vikings, they're just night and day.
Can they get the ball to Adam Thielen a little bit more?
I don't know. I told you he was not going to do well. He had 29 yards. He had 31 yards in week 2. Got the touchdown, which kind of saved him. But I don't know. Justin Jefferson stole the show. 7 catches, 171 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know. It was just 175 yards. Sorry. It was just unprecedented. He had a 71-yard touchdown. Had a lot of work in the slot. The week of the rookie wide receivers, Brandon Ayuk. He had a rushing touchdown, kind of looked a little bit like Deebo Samuel out there. T. Higgins had 2 touchdowns. Gabriel Davis with the Bills had 4 catches for 81 yards. Yeah, what do you think about these guys? Any of them waiver wire worthy? Are they priorities for you? Are you adding them, Eric? Talking about Jefferson, Ayuk, Higgins, and Gabriel Davis.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in like a 10-team league or something, probably not. But if you're in a little bit deeper league, they're definitely guys I would grab, especially with bye week starting this week, I believe. Yeah, they're definitely guys you can throw in your flex.
I mean, if all 4 of these players are available, you have to get one of them, I think.
Who's your top priority of the 4?
I want to say Ayuk, but then just because he, like you said, he looks like Deebo Samuel out there, and if Deebo's out for a little longer, he might be getting those targets that Deebo Samuel left behind there. But Justin Jefferson, I don't know. They're all question marks. All their offenses are question marks besides the Bills. But Davis is the 4th option there in Buffalo. So,
yeah, Justin Jefferson is actually my number 1 overall waiver priority this week. We'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, he's someone that I think, as I mentioned, I think he's going to get migrated into the offense a little better. Ayuk, yeah, they used him a lot like he did at Arizona State too, back in college. So that was something that was pretty nice to see. 5 catches for 70 yards. T. Higgins had 2 touchdowns, like we said. That connection's 9 targets, and A.J. Green's not doing much, and he looked a lot like A.J. Green, and I don't know what about T Higgins, Eric?
I mean, like you said before, he was working out with Joe Burrow before, and they clearly have a connection. Um, I mean, he was the guy everyone thought they were going to bring in to replace AJ Green there to begin with. So, I'm not surprised that he got the touchdowns, but I mean, it's not something I'm expecting him to get to do consistently. He'll have a few big games throughout the year, but
Yeah.
there's so many mouths there to feed, I think, and Tyler Boyd's the number one there. AJ Green's still getting a ton of targets. Um, so yeah, that's
Yeah.
why for him in a deeper league, I'm looking at him, but yeah, I'm not looking at him to produce like this consistently.
You might be able to pick him up for free tomorrow.
Someone will probably put 5 or 10% on him. But like you did mention though, before the draft, T Higgins and Joe Burrow did work out together. So that connection kind of has been there. Obviously, COVID delayed it for a little bit, but maybe that's something that we certainly do want to watch. If you have the room, I would certainly be adding one of these rookies, if not being able to get 2, if you do need some more. I'd say maybe if you're really strong at your top 2 wide receivers and you just have like a Golden Tate in between, someone that just has like a low floor, you want to get a high ceiling, players like this that can get the 2 touchdown ability. Gabriel Davis, I think there's a lot of mouths to feed there too. So maybe hold off on Gabriel Davis for a little bit.
I'd be targeting T Higgins in dynasty leagues too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure his price is going up though for the low first, high second people already were paying for him in the draft. But I agree with you there.
You got to beat him to the punch. Look what me and Big E did in our one dynasty league, and we both traded for Robinson, and he had that breakout game, and we got him. We both got him fairly cheap. I got him for a second and third, and what'd you get him for a second in Golden Tate?
Yep.
Yeah. So like you gotta be able to. You got to try to predict it, and try to beat it before they have those breakout games.
And you won't know.
You're definitely going to pay for Higgins. You're going to pay more for Higgins this week than you would have last week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess for Higgins would actually be a little bit smarter to wait a few weeks and then target him, because like I said, he's not going to do this consistently, and he's going to have a few more dud weeks before he has another big week, I think. And so yeah. That's what, wait a few weeks and then try and target them.
Yeah. More. So that was the rookies. Sophomore wide receivers. Andy Isabella, 4 for 47 and 2 touchdowns. In Christian Kirk's absence, they used him a bit in the red zone. I kind of feel like that was, again, just kind of part of Christian Kirk's absence. I think when Kirk comes back in, he is still more talented. Isabella did look good, but
you would think. But he hasn't showed it.
I know. It's been unfortunate. I know I really like Kirk. There's something going on there. Maybe it is an injury, and that's why they were letting him sit, and they're really trying to get that taken care of.
I drafted Kirk in a couple leagues. And
so did I, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope it does get a little better. But speaking of sophomores there, DK Metcalf had 4 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Should have had a second touchdown for 62 yards, but celebrated a little too early, and the ball got punched out at the 2-yard line. So that was kind of depressing. If you knew you needed that 12 points at the end of the day. Terry McLaurin, 4 catches for 83 yards. Hunter Renfrow, 6 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. I think with all the injuries going on in Oakland, he might be somebody you want to grab too. He was a favorite of Derek Carr last year. And Scotty Miller, with Chris Godwin being out for an extended period of for a few games, at least it seems, with the hamstring, he had 3 catches for 83 yards. What are you doing with Scotty Miller? Are we trying to pick him up? Is he a big priority?
No.
I think he is, actually.
Not for me. Eric, go ahead. You let us know why.
Well, I mean, not only is Godwin out, but he's actually played better with Godwin in there. If you look first week and then the last week, he was a good flex option. But the week that Godwin was out, he didn't do much at all. So I think he's a good guy to target. And I mean, what you said, Jefferson's your number 1 target. I mean, I still would like to get Jefferson, but I think Scotty Miller's probably going to do it a little bit more consistently if you need that for your flex. But if you're looking for that boom bust, definitely go for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but Scotty Miller is only going to be a game or two, we hope. Justin Jefferson should be the rest of the season.
Well, Godwin's not going to be out for the rest of the season. He's actually doing better with Godwin in, is what I was saying.
Oh, so yeah, sorry, I missed that part there. Well, then then I guess it's going to be interesting to see how he does here with Godwin being out.
If you don't have that much fab left here in week 4, that you could probably get him really cheap.
I'm hoping in a PPR
league. In a PPR league, with Godwin and Evans both playing, Scotty Miller had double-digit fantasy points.
How many targets did he have?
Low double-digit.
Get that handy?
Say it again.
How many targets did he have this week?
Scotty Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah, you double-check that, and I just wouldn't go more than probably 5% on him, especially because with all the other players we were just talking about at wide receiver, he probably is low man on the totem pole for a lot of people, especially ones on the know of Scotty Miller. So it's talking about Chris Godwin there. That hamstring strain is week to week.
Right here, Antonio.
How many targets?
Yeah, they played the Broncos, right, this past week. He had 5 targets, three receptions for 83 yards.
There you go.
So
yeah,
if
those
you look
5
at
targets
it,
could become
Mike Evans
7.
only had 4 targets. Gronk had the most with 7 targets, which was
beat Gronk.
I heard. I think it was Mike Evans was like the 3rd player in like NFL history to have 2 catches and 2 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Mike Evans?
I mean, what'd you say?
Who was that? Mike Evans?
Mike Evans, yeah. That's all. That's all he had, and then finally had over 100 yards. So he's got 3 touchdowns already. You know, I said he was going to have over double-digit touchdowns. He seems to be on a good pace for that. But especially with Godwin being out, do you think Mike Evans is a trade target?
Like you want to trade for him, or you want to trade?
Yes, I would. You want to try trading for him?
I did trade for him in a dynasty league a few weeks ago.
More so redraft right now. Like I'm trying to see if, you know, if you're kind of strong at running back, or maybe like Austin Eckler, would you move Austin Eckler for Mike Evans?
See, the problem is I don't think you're going to get him for the price that you're going to try to get him at, just because Godwin is out. So the Mike Evans owner is going to value him even higher, and Godwin's not going to be out long, or at least he shouldn't be. So it's tough.
But do you think he'd value him higher than Austin Eckler? He or she?
Maybe. That's close. That's actually a good. I mean, I would actually maybe do that. If you have Eckler, try and toss that out there. Because, I mean, the good thing is with the Godwin being out is Mike Evans is getting this connection built up with Brady.
Right.
Clearly already has it
Especially
in the end
red
zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the red zone. But yeah.
He becomes touchdown dependent. You're kind of screwed.
Well, he did have over 100 yards and a touchdown as well.
Yeah.
But Chris Godwin. So as we mentioned, he is week to week. We're hoping to have him just miss only one game, at least sit him out so he can get a little healthier. Tariq Cohen for the Bears did tear his ACL and MCL. He's out for the year.
At least he got paid.
Yeah, at least he did get paid, and then barely used. It was weird, but yeah, David Montgomery. I think that he's another buy low candidate. He's gonna touch the ball. He's gonna get probably close to 18, 20 touches a game. I'm sure they're gonna, Ryan Nall may come in and get some work. But what do you guys think of David Montgomery?
I'm not trading you Chubb for him. You try to trade me Kareem Hunt and Montgomery for Chubb.
In a PPR.
Can you believe that, Eric? He tried to take me for a fool. Like I'm not part of this podcast.
No, I really.
That's not terrible.
I think you guys
are terrible.
Down David Montgomery.
I'm not giving up Chubb.
Way too much. And Kareem Hunt's getting a lot of work. We're definitely going to talk about Nick Chubb and my stressing for him a little bit later. That's a preview for you all.
But yeah, back to Montgomery. I'm 0-3 in one league. I'm definitely going to contact the owner of Montgomery and see if I can get him for cheap.
He doesn't look the same as he did last year. He looks quicker. He looks like he's really. I mean, obviously, I know he's putting the work in, but he just looks a little different than he did last year.
Who's their second back now? Do we know?
I think Ryan Nall, and then they promoted someone else today from their practice squad. So nobody too concerning. They may add someone else for depth.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. I know, Eric, you weren't a big fan of this over the weekend. Does Nick Foles make an impact on this at all?
I think it does. I think that people are going to pay attention or respect the pass a little bit more now. Now they don't have to pay attention to Trubisky running the ball, so maybe that is a little extra attention the linebacker may pay to the running back. I know you asked Eric, but
Bears didn't let him run anyway. Trubisky, but yeah, obviously it depends. Is Foles going to keep up that level of play, which I don't think he does.
That was a nice throw down the sideline.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what he does though. He has these amazing moments where he looks great and then it goes away. So
won him a Super Bowl.
Allen Robinson finally balled out though. Like, I mean, he looked like Nick Foles.
One of my
really
impressions from last week finally hit him.
So, I mean, do you think? Are you buying it though? Are you keeping Allen Robinson? Are you trying to sell high?
He's not going to play Atlanta every week where they can't tackle him in the fourth quarter. And he goes for a 40-yard touchdown run or reception. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm on your side with the Nick Foles thing, Antonio. I think he's better than Trubisky, and I think the pass is going to be more effective. I think, and that's going to definitely help Robinson out. So
yeah, Foles threw 3 touchdowns, came back, they beat the Falcons. I mean, I feel so bad for Atlanta fans. It just doesn't make sense. It's I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's great for fantasy.
I was knocked out of our suicide pool.
Oh man,
I picked the Falcons.
They got you out of the suicide pool. Well, it was your fault for
your suicide pool.
My suicide pool.
Oh yeah. Man.
Well, at least you made it to week 3. I was out week 1. So were you.
Oh man, let me just run down some injuries real quick here. Chris Carson has a left knee sprain. He's week to week. That was some actual good news from what they thought it was. Deshaun Jackson injured again.
Back for a second. How about that dirty move by that Cowboys defender on that?
I see it more often than you'd like to, of course, and sometimes they're just falling through with it.
I'd kick him out of the league if I was a commissioner.
There was a few games I saw it happen yesterday. I saw it happen last night.
What is going through your head when you do that?
Like I said, you're just following through with it.
No, he wasn't following through.
I mean, I maybe I didn't see him fully all the way through, but
he was trying to hurt him there.
Was he?
I don't know. Yeah, he was.
Well, I mean, obviously he did get injured, but like I said, I at least see the way.
Got a bounty on him.
Yeah. Hey, Tech. Oh man, let's not go that far. Mike Williams has a hamstring strain. He's week to week. So Keenan Allen's 19 targets.
He had 19 targets this past week.
19 targets.
I lost count after 11.
Yeah, well, he had 13 catches. So Keenan Allen's got to be someone that – I mean, I was definitely wrong. Well, I mean, this was when we were more so talking about Tyrod. But it sounds like Herbert's in to stay until Tyrod can play because, Anthony Lynn didn't seem too happy with Herbert, even though he had over 300 yards again. They did look pretty sloppy.
Anthony Lynn's an idiot.
What'd you say?
Anthony Lynn's an idiot.
Well, it's going to help Austin Eckler probably. It's going to help – will help Austin Eckler. It's going to help Hunter Henry. Yeah. John Brown, calf strain. He left the game. I haven't heard any more right now. It sounds like he's questionable, but he may miss. If that's the case, Stephon Diggs is certainly going to have a bit more attention when they're playing at Las Vegas. But I think that he's going to have a pretty good week. I mean, speaking of the Bills, Josh Allen obviously had a great performance again. 5 touchdowns, had a comeback win. Do you think Stephon Diggs is going to be able to keep this up? Do you think Josh Allen's going to be able to keep up, supporting multiple wide receivers?
I've seen enough from Allen. I think he's good. I really do. I think this offense is going to keep clicking rest of the year. It's not just like the players on the field. I mean, obviously we pay attention more to the Bills than any team because they're our home team, but the offensive coordinator, Dable, some of the formations and some of the, play calling is just, it's unique. It's similar to, I'm trying to think of an offense that, like the Chiefs offense. They're different formations. They're using 4 wide receivers, a couple running backs. It's not just 1 or 2 players in the offense. So I think Allen's going to be fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of sloppy, play breakup sometimes where they're just trying to run around and they throw they just get it out there and someone's wide open. We saw Cole Beasley do that multiple times. We've seen Dawson Knox do it, and he's got a concussion, but he should be coming back soon.
But back to the Diggs thing, what you mentioned, in a buy low, I think you need to target John Brown. First of all, he's injured. He has a calf injury, and I think someone's willing to trade him likely now more than a couple weeks from now. But also, Diggs is going to get a lot of attention from the defense, and John Brown's going to. I think Brown's going to end up with at least 7 touchdowns this year, and a lot of receptions. Trying to think of a number of receptions.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got two touchdowns already. He had 16 targets in the first 2 games, and then had the 2 before getting injured. So that's where Gabriel Davis stepped up. I mean, like we mentioned, I wouldn't grab Gabriel Davis because it probably will just be a week thing, and they're traveling on the road to the West Coast for the first time, so it could be one of those maybe.
I wouldn't grab Gabriel Davis in a redraft, but I think he's somebody that you should target in a dynasty league right now.
He's not available. He's not on the waiver wire. You got to trade.
No. Target him. Target him in a trade.
Yeah, I think he's someone for the future. I agree with that.
Yeah, because John Brown and Beasley are not going to be there very long.
Probably a couple more years.
They're both over 30. So
Davis next year can be 100% go.
Yeah, it's going to be Diggs and Davis in the future, after this year, maybe even the year after, depending how long. I think John Brown and Beasley could still be there another year, depending how the rest of this year goes. But I guess what Davis does. But he's somebody you can get cheap, and he could potentially blow up in the next.
Yeah, it could be scary. I mean, Diggs can be the X, Davis can be the Y. Get John Brown, line him up in the slot. Yeah, speaking of slot receivers, though, Deontay Johnson got a concussion. He left the game pretty early. One of my impresses, only had his 2 targets before leaving. They think that he's going to get back by Sunday, but he did just get into the concussion protocol. That game actually might even be flexed to Monday. Coming out today, the Titans had a lot of positive COVID tests. It sounds like they're handling it properly now, and everything seems – what was that?
What I saw was that, they closed the facilities down at 6:00, and they just did drive-through testing and then sent everyone home. So it looks like they caught it before everyone was in the building.
Yeah, so it sounds like everything is going to be good so far for Sunday. Obviously more to come with that, but they do have already talked about the potential to flex it to Monday if need be. So we'll monitor that practice activity pretty closely this week and see what's going on. We didn't really find out, I think, who was affected. Dallas Goedert, high ankle sprain. He's out at least the next couple weeks. I was just talking a lot about him on Twitter last week before the game, how he's, ascending over Zach Ertz, and it's time for him to shine, and then, a bit of a setback.
Does he have a smooth fracture, Antonio?
I'm sorry? I believe that they said they confirmed that he did have a small fracture, but nothing that requires surgery, so it'll be about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, I know I said a sprain, but they did update that to a fracture. Zach Ertz time. I mean, come on, he's probably gonna see 15 targets.
Yeah, well, for at least a couple weeks until Wentz loses his job.
Yeah, he's looking rough. He's got 6 turnovers already.
We'll be talking more about him in my impress.
Yeah, we will. Jordan Reed has an MCL sprain. George Kittle's coming back soon, so unfortunate for Jordan Reed, just never been able to stay healthy. But like I said, Kittle slot right back in. Russell Gage has a concussion week to week. If he is on your waiver wire, please pick him up. He's becoming a little favorite for Matt Ryan as well in the slot. Michael Pittman's going to be out for a while, at least 6 weeks. Brian Edwards has an ankle sprain, so he'll miss at least this week. Jerick McKinnon has a rib contusion. He'll be day-to-day. He was certainly a good pickup last week. They used him in some good ways along with Jeff Wilson.
That man can't get a break.
No, they can't. Turf, I mean, they're away from the turf. They don't have to visit New York anymore.
He can't catch a break, I'm saying.
Jets, no. It's his ribs now. Usually it's his lower body, so I guess that's maybe the positive from it. I don't know. But let's talk, though, about some waiver wire time. talking about Jeff Wilson Jr., talking about guys like Carlos Hyde in Seattle with like we said, Chris Carson being injured. Nick Foles is on your waiver wire. We talked about a lot of the rookies, a lot of the tight ends. Who's one of your guys' top priorities? I know I already talked about Justin Jefferson being mine. I'm willing to spend 25% of my fab on him, which means I may not get him in some leagues. I get it. But I might even squeak a little bit more depending on who I'm talking to.
Eric, you want to go?
Oh, no, please do the honors, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm looking at this list, honestly, and I still haven't done my waivers yet for this week. And I'm not spending that much on anyone besides Jefferson. I don't care about Nick Foles, Hunter Renfrow, excuse me. I guess, if Ruggs is out, I guess, that might be a good one because he was Carr's favorite target last year. But Carlos Hyde, I mean, Carson's coming back in a week. Is he worth the money? Especially, this is where I stress. If you don't need a running back, you don't need to put money on Carlos Hyde. Just because he's available, you don't have to waste your fab on a running back that's going to sit on your bench for a couple weeks and then you're going to drop him again after Carson comes back. But I mean, Rex Burkhead, I know Antonio, you're big on him because of what Cam Newton did over in Carolina with Christian McCaffrey. But in my eyes, that's still a New England backfield. That's still a Bill Belichick run team. And until they have a legit starter there in New England, I stay away from the whole New England running back.
I just think he needs to be rostered. That's for sure. Like, I get it. Yeah. Some people are probably going to go spending 30 or 40% on him. Yeah. And that's for sure. None of us are going to get him, but I think he needs to be rostered. They're not doing anything New England type of way as they've been with Cam. So once he picks a favorite, and I'm wondering
myself because I was going to pick him up on Sunday, but I ended up picking up the running back from the Giants, Gelman. Between those two guys, I was deciding. I was like, who should I pick up just to roster for free? And I went the Gelman route because I don't know why, but I am kicking myself. Would have been nice to grab Burkhead there for free.
That's true. That would have been pretty nice.
I think if you're in a super flex league, though, you need to be spending a lot of fab on Foles. He should be the number one priority. Spending.
But once again,
honestly, potentially, nearly all the fab you have left on him.
But if you have three quarterbacks that are going to start ahead of him, don't waste your money on him.
Yeah, but if you were the Trubisky owner and you were counting on him to be one of your guys, then you need to spend a lot of fab on him. And not only that, but on somebody else on the Bears offense, Anthony Miller, he's only 46% owned in Yahoo leagues. So he's somebody that you can check your waiver wire. I know week 2 he had nothing, but weeks 1 and 3 he's had double-digit fantasy points in PPR leagues, and with Foles taking over there, could be a better offense. So
he did have a real pretty touchdown catch. It was near the end. Darnell Mooney did kind of take him over in week 2. But yeah, I'm hoping Anthony Miller becomes a target for Nick Foles. I'm actually in the process right now of trying to make a trade for Allen Lazard. So I'll keep you guys updated on that one.
What league?
We'll see.
What league? So I could
Brandon Ayuk. I know we were talking about him a little. I think, like we said, he does need to be added. Even when Debo comes back, that offense is decimated. So he's another top target for me besides Justin Jefferson. I think Jimmy Graham 100% needs to be added. He's probably going to be a top 10 tight end the rest of the year. It does, like I said, he's leading everybody in red zone targets in the 10-yard line. So that's going to be good. Mo Alley Cox, even with Jack Doyle playing like 75% of the snaps, he's still got targets, still got a touchdown. Keep your eye out for him.
Did you keep him in your daily fantasy, or did you switch him out?
I did wind up switching him out. I don't remember who I switched him for, but it wound up being a good thing. I don't know, actually. Maybe I did keep him in. I'm not sure. Oh, no, I did switch him after I found out Jack Doyle played, which was kind of frustrating.
That's why.
So I should have kept my gut there.
What was the target stat on Jimmy Graham that you shared earlier?
He's leading all all players in targets in the 10-yard line, inside the 10-yard line.
In the NFL, not on his team, right?
In the NFL, yeah, the whole league. He had 7 targets in week 1, 9 targets in week 2. That's just total. But he had six, I believe, in the top in the 10-yard line.
I think he should be, out of these players that we named, I think he should be high up there if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, they both came from Nick Foles, so yeah, it's going to be. I think that it's going to be some, and they obviously got him for a reason. They have Cole Kmet. They're going to use. They've been using them both. Obviously, Jimmy Graham's getting a lot more of the receiving yards. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, guys, at Dynasty Mafia _FF. You can find me at Antonio Denisi FF. You can find Eric at Eric D _FF and Keenan at Keenan _716. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, the Dynasty Mafia Podcast. You can find us everywhere else. I don't know, just giving you a little update there. Make sure to check out our website too, dynastymafiapodcast.network. Working on keeping that update as much as possible for you folks. Should have a lot of articles coming out, as well as our rankings. A lot of good stuff. So make sure to check that out. Give us any feedback, and submit a question if you have any. Submit your rosters. The big thing I want to talk about right now, I'm going through it personally. I am 1-2 in a lot of leagues, guys.
Not me.
And I'm sitting here and I'm telling myself we're going to be okay. And I'm talking to everybody else out there that's 1-2, even 0-3.
0-3 you'll be all right.
You are going to be okay. Yeah. Especially if you're looking at your point totals and you're seeing that you are in the top 5 or 6 of the league. Maybe you're just getting beat against some guys that are, or some other players that are scoring just as much. But be confident in your roster. Listen to the advice we are giving you, because those 1-2 teams that I'm in, I'm very confident in my rosters. I got the likes of Miles Sanders's, Joe Mixon's, DJ Moore's. There's a lot of injuries that have been going on. It's all going to come back. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, that's what I want to mention. Don't make a trade just to make a trade. Someone offered me, today, I'm 0-3 in one of my leagues, Golden Tate for Chris Carson. And literally texted him back with a bunch of swear words. Why are you offering this trade to me right now? Why the hell would I want Golden beeping Tate on my team over Chris Carson? So don't make a trade just to make a trade. Make sure you're, like I have Joe Mixon and Chris Carson on that team, and they're underperforming right now, and they're top. They're probably both of them are probably drafted in the first 2 rounds. I also have, let's see here. Chris Carson.
Well, talking about
Mark Andrews, he's all 3 of those guys are definitely going to start performing.
Yeah, Mark Andrews dropped 2 touchdowns yesterday.
Yeah, so
these are things you got to look at though too that are just, they go under the radar. Like we said, DK Metcalf would have had 170 plus yards, but he's also got like 5 drops this year. Yeah. It's just it's things that just aren't seen. Stephon Diggs had 2 touchdowns called back.
Yeah.
He's someone that's getting the targets that we keep talking about.
The reason I lost this week was because this idiot had Rex Burkhead on his team somehow.
What a great move, like we were saying.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it is. If you want to make a trade for high upside as well. Trade for someone that's obviously, like we said, if you're 1-2, you want to get someone that's, like I said, Joe Mixon is a great trade target for me. He is getting nearly 20 touches every game. I know he hasn't scored yet. We're going to talk about him later, but that's somebody that is getting production. DJ Moore, he's got 25% target share. He's going to keep getting the ball. We're going to, we'll talk, perfect example, actually. He's averaging 17.1 yards per catch right now. That's just going to be his career high. He's got 13.5 ADOT, meaning that the ball's traveling 13.5 yards before he catches it. When last year was 11.1. I was talking about him being a Michael Thomas esque player, where he's getting the ball between the 8 and 10-yard line, and then you got Teddy Bridgewater just reversing the game here, and he's actually getting the ball more down the field. And that's why DJ Moore's going to come back around, because the targets are going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, our writer Joe Saro offered me a trade yesterday in that 0-3 league. He wants Joe Mixon from me. He offered me Landry, Slayton, and Moss. I'm like, Joe, just because you're giving me 3 players doesn't mean I'm going to do that trade. So don't panic. Don't do something that you're going to regret a week from now, because Mixon has more upside than all three of those players.
Absolutely.
Eric, have you got any bad trades offered the last couple days?
Oh, actually, I just had one. I don't remember who it was.
You don't have to name them. We don't have to embarrass them.
No, it was. I don't know if it was necessarily a bad offer. For me, it felt like a bad offer, but it's a super flex tight end premium league. It's a 1.75 for tight ends. And then he offered me Cam Newton for Mark Andrews in a 2022 first.
Oh wow.
Dynasty?
Yeah.
That was really trying to sell high on that Cam Newton 2-touchdown game, probably, huh?
Yeah, and I'm trying to buy low on Mark Andrews. Trying to cover.
Oh yeah.
No, not no.
That to me felt like a bad offer. I don't know.
It's a bad offer because Cam Newton might not be the Patriots quarterback in 2 years.
If you see a trade offer come in, that's a great way to think of it. If you see an offer come in and you look at it and you're like, that's an interesting offer. Let it sit for a minute. Don't jump right into emotion. Just analyze the trade for a second and actually take a step back. Okay, that's a good thing to do too. And you just because people can try to take advantage. That I just got offered for Alvin Kamara, and I couldn't even tell you what it was for because I just denied it right away. And I tend to try and look for counters when it comes to that, but if you're starting low for something, I don't even know. That just means your valuation's way too far off.
And also, don't get too greedy either. Last week someone offered me Tyreek Hill and I think a second-round pick for Kenyon Drake, and I try to push the envelope to get a first out of it, and the whole trade went in smoke. So now I'm kicking myself. I wish I would have honestly, now that I think about it, I would have just taken Tyreek Hill for Kenyon Drake. I don't need the draft picks. So.
Isn't it great how hindsight
2020? I love it, man. Yeah.
Talking about Alvin Kamara, he's actually we're gonna shift over here to talk about our big winners of the week. Alvin Kamara is actually my big winner. He is leading all running backs by 24 points, at least in PPR, at least by 24 points. Had an amazing game last. Oh geez, what we said? Yeah, on Monday, had six catches for 50 or 6 attempts for 58 yards, but also added in a lot of other catches, which I'm actually blanking on. I think he had like 14 catches. Sorry, let me just find that. Anybody else have that handy? I have it in a moment. Jeez, 13 catches. Yeah, he's just crazy, guys. I don't know. Again, a big winner because while I checked that out, he's just someone that, we saw him last year just come back and say he wasn't healthy. And we saw it happen, but he had a great stretch in the first couple games. And even though Michael Thomas is out right now, you don't get that kind of targets no matter what. And he's always been efficient with scoring touchdowns, right? Besides, like we said last year. But it was 14 targets, 13 catches, 139 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he danced around like 6 guys to get to one of his touchdowns. It's amazing. And I regret that I didn't grab him as my RB3 in any of my drafts. I mean, I didn't have many third picks, but I wasn't able to get him at much, and I'm just.
I regret taking him not taking him at number 1.
No, I mean, yes. Again, hindsight now, taking him number 1. But if we drafted today, I still might take McCaffrey first.
Over Kamara.
I still might, yeah.
If we drafted today, I'm taking Kamara. I'm still kicking myself because in our WB league, Elliott won second. I had the third pick, and I took Barkley over Kamara. And I'm thinking to myself, I usually always go with the better offense/offensive line. And for some reason, I didn't do it there.
Yeah, I've had first pick in that league 4 years in a row.
Yeah, and how's that working out for you?
My first overall pick gets hurt every year. It's insane.
I got something that you'll never see. Hold on.
Why do you talk about your winner, Eric, while he does that?
Hold on. Neither of you will ever.
Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Will never.
There it is.
will never touch this.
I don't want it.
You know, I might as well just wear it.
There you go.
They're both cursed in this league.
For anybody that's listening in, it's our WWE fantasy league. It's the championship belt.
Sucker's heavy.
Yeah, it's an actual championship trophy, our actual championship belt as our trophy. So Keenan stole that from someone.
Yeah, he has the champion didn't come pick it up, so I'm holding it for him. Since
He's not good enough to have it himself.
He definitely doesn't deserve it because I would have won last year if Delvin Cook decided not to get hurt.
Oh man, Eric, I know you're a big winner being Allen Robinson. We talked about him a little bit. You have any? What else you want to add about Allen Robinson?
Not much else to say. It's more so just with Foles in there, it clearly looks like Foles wants to target him, and just the offense as a whole is going to be running much better. I don't have that much high of hopes for Foles. Like I said earlier, he's not going to be, playing at that kind of level consistently. But, it'll at least be a little bit better for Robinson.
I like that one. I like that a lot, actually, Eric. I'm not a big Allen Robinson fan just because of Trubisky being out as a quarterback. But now with Foles switching up, I like that a lot. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, your turn for your winner, sir.
I got the whole Seattle offense. That offense is clicking. You got Lockett. You got Russell Wilson winning me in our 2-keeper league. Thank you, Eric, for that W. But
I still had 190 points.
What did I have?
No, I had 178. You had 190.
That's with Michael Thomas, Kittle, and Shark out. That's what a great GM does, though, guys. But that offense, Mr. Unlimited, is just looking unlimited. He's the best quarterback in the world right now, and there's no discussion. There's no discussion about it. I know everyone wants to talk about Mahomes, Jackson, and Allen, but Russell is great, and DK is great, and the only thing about that whole offense scares me is Chris Carson. And now with the injury, obviously. But that whole passing team offense is looking great.
Would you sell high right now on Russell Wilson in redraft?
I don't know. We talk about these. I think you made a point via text today when you told you and I were talking about trades, and you said that we'll talk again when I'm 1-2, and I ended up going 2-1 thanks to Russell Wilson Lockett. And you wanted him, and you said you wanted to draft him, but you always wait for a player like Goff or a player like Matt Ryan. But I feel like Russell Wilson doesn't have those 16, 17, 18-point weeks. I feel like he's always 25 to 30. And if I'm guaranteed to get that from a quarterback like Russell Wilson, I kind of want to hang on to him.
Well, he is right now, and you know what? Yeah, what I said. Every league I was in that he was in the 7th, 8th round. I'm like, man, I should grab him. I have a good in my mind. I'm like, he'll be my I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. He was my quarterback 3 going into the year, but then I'm also like, all right, well, I can wait 5, 6 more, 7 more rounds to get Matt Ryan and Jared Goff, which I did. That I have those 2 quarterbacks in a lot of my leagues. Yeah. But then, I'm looking now like, man, I would be 3-0.
If you had
probably in a good amount of my leagues if I had those performances, but he has 4 more touchdowns than the next closest quarterback. He is on pace for 75 touchdowns. That's where I'm saying like I know the Mahomes year, and then you had Lamar's year last year. Those were championship winning players, but with how great he's doing, he's only 14 points higher than Josh Allen. 25 points higher than Mahomes after Mahomes' performance last night, and 30 points ahead of Dak. That's why I'm just saying.
If I'm getting one of those quarterbacks that you mentioned in return, yeah. But if I'm ending up with like a Matthew Stafford as my quarterback, I'm not selling him.
What about Aaron Rodgers? Like he was almost undrafted, and now he's averaging 30 points a game.
It would definitely be something I think about, honestly. If I'm able to get – so I guess I'm changing my answer here. If I'm able to get a good quarterback in return, like an Aaron Rodgers or a Josh Allen or –
Plus what, though?
What's that?
So what about James Robinson and Aaron Rodgers?
What is it? Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you talking Superflex? Obviously, Superflex.
No.
Well, just
I
regular.
mean, if you could sell, again,
I
if
don't
you
think
could
you get
sell
that.
someone on, Russell Wilson is like we said. I mean, the guy's scoring over 40 points a week, but you have to obviously see, he had 39, 43, 47. That's insane. Rodgers is averaging almost 15 points less a week than him, so that's why I'm saying, Robinson might be a trade you could push into someone or talk into somebody with, but maybe how about maybe that's too much. Maybe Chris Carson.
Yeah.
By law, Chris Carson.
I mean, if you're getting that extra piece where you're able to. I mean, you gotta get like a Rodgers though. You cannot settle for like a Matthew Stafford.
I don't think
Matt Ryan.
I mean,
Jared Goff.
I don't think
Jared
you
Goff
get a
did
good enough
great.
piece. I don't think you get a good enough piece on top of a quarterback like that in a one.
That's what I'm thinking. Like you're
to
not
have it be worth it because
But you don't think last season Lamar Jackson?
He's not going to get 75 touchdowns, no, but he's still throwing to two great wide receivers, and there's no reason to think that the team's just going to start running it more again. They're still going to let him cook. He's still going to be throwing touchdown passes. No, not 75, but there's a good chance he's hitting over 40, close to 50 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
And produces two wide receiver ones.
And that's a great point by Eric. You're not that piece that you're getting with like an Aaron Rodgers is not going to be a James Robinson. Or it's not going to be a Chris Carson either.
See, for me, it's because
Montgomery?
If you need need the depth, maybe. Sure. But for redraft, I'm trying to optimize my lineup, and for me, it's he could finish as a QB1, and
he's gonna
like you said, he's already 4 touchdowns ahead of the next closest person.
But only 14 points. That's the only, like I said, that's the only reason I'm saying. And if you had Lamar Jackson last year, I feel like somebody would have paid a premium in order for you to be able to get a quarterback that can do that. But trust me, I get it. If you want to ride that, you want to ride this train.
But also, Russ doesn't provide. Russ is mobile. He can run, but he doesn't provide the same kind of upside in the run game as Lamar does. That everybody was so attracted to.
Who's your quarterback and 2 keeper right now?
Probably Jared Goff.
Okay.
But even last year though, like even in last season, Russell Wilson started off hot and he tapered off. I agree that this season that's probably not going to happen because DK Metcalf is just burning past everybody. Tyler Lockett's doing great.
Let me mention on him. That defense is looking rough.
That's true too. That defense is not what we thought. They're letting over 400 passing yards a game.
And if they're down like they were this past week in the fourth quarter, they needed a field goal to win. And what Pete Carroll after the game said that they weren't going for a field goal. They were going for a touchdown. And not only that, it was a bomb to DK, right? In the back of the end zone. Yeah, so like they're not it seems like they're not scared to throw the ball.
They're not scared, but they're not throwing the ball more than they normally do. Like Russell Wilson has only 103 attempts. Like that's where they've been basically. That's a little bit more than last season, but not a lot.
It's 35 attempts a game.
It's about 31.
Okay, 31 if you want
I'm sorry. No, I think you're 33 and a half. Yeah. But up at 3 or 4 more attempts and you're looking at it could be even more production. But it's still not going to get you I guess where I think he could be and where I think that you need to rely on the efficiency. He is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league, but the 13.5% touchdown rate is just scary to me. Mahomes was like 11 when he had 50 touchdowns. So we'll move on from that. We'll move to our losers. We'll talk about those quick because we've talked about them a bit. Keenan, why don't you start us off with your loser?
Man, that Monday Night Football game was a loser, right? I was expecting a little bit more out of the Lamar Jackson versus Mahomes matchup, and it was a blowout for most of the game until they got it down to a touchdown. But I mean, Mahomes. Let me just say this: Jackson was definitely he looked bad. That's the word I'm looking for, bad. And he should be lucky that he even got that. Was it a kick return? The first kick return of the season back for a touchdown because that game would have been a blowout.
The whole NFL.
Yeah, and I was hoping, for a 30, 40-point game like we got a couple years ago when Jared Goff went up against Mahomes and he ended up beating Kansas City. Was it 54 to 49 or whatever the score was? That's what I wasn't. I know it wasn't going to be that high scoring, but I was hoping to see a more of an exciting game. I was sitting on my couch. I kind of started falling asleep. Not gonna lie. So that Monday night game was a loser for me.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, kind of an obvious one, but it's quarterback Carson Wentz. He already didn't have much to throw to, and now he loses Goddard. The offensive line is still rough there. It's not looking good there. I've seen. Well, I don't know where, I forgot where exactly I saw the reports, but not necessarily reports, but people calling for him to be sat. Like
they should be. That's how bad
But there's nothing around him. Now all he literally has is Zach Ertz to throw to. I mean, Goddard's going to be back. Rager will be
Goddard this past week. He still looked bad.
Yeah.
I think Miles Sanders is going to get a lot of attention.
Hakeem Butler? So, that could be something there.
I wish the Eagles used Miles Sanders like New Orleans uses Kamara.
I think it's got to be coming, man. I think he's going to be getting at least 10 targets.
The one touchdown by Kamara, I'm like, Miles Sanders can do this. Miles Sanders can get 10, 12 targets a game. He has no one to help your quarterback out. And I think, Antonio, you made the point not a couple weeks ago, maybe not on the podcast, but there's a reason they drafted a quarterback. And was it a second-round pick that they took, Hearns?
That was the first-round pick.
No, they didn't take him.
No, that was Green Bay.
No, that was Love. Yeah, no, you're right. I think Hurts maybe been the third.
Second or third round.
That's
still a high pick.
But that's the thing, though. Like,
quarterback, you drafted it first overall or second overall, whatever it was, between him and Goff. So maybe
he's also had Carson Wentz has also had injury problems, which I think that was the main reason they picked him up as more of an insurance policy. Since they don't have Wentz there, or since they don't have Foles there anymore as the backup, and a potential long-term option if Wentz doesn't, turn out here. But you can't throw.
He was a second-round pick
behind this offensive line with this wide receiving core. Like Carson Wentz is a good quarterback, and he's struggling. You can't throw a rookie in there.
I don't know, Eric. I just a couple years before he had that bad.
The coach will look very bad if he throws a rookie in there over Carson Wentz.
What if the rookie goes in there and he lights it up?
I mean, sure.
But you're not going to light it up right now with that team. I think you need to wait till everybody gets back and is healthy, and then if Carson still struggles, I mean, it's not like all 6 of those turnovers. He did he was sloppy. Like that's
they're paying Wentz a lot of money.
They did, and that offensive line is horrible.
They need to put a team around him. They need to build that team better around him. I mean, they had injuries. I mean, it's injuries that's really hurting them the most right now. But they.
I just want to mention. Never mind. I got nothing. I'm gonna grab Hearns this week in my Superflex league for cheap, and just put him on my bench.
Yeah.
I want to beat the punch because we know his injury problem, Carson Wentz's injury problems, and I think I'm a lot closer than you guys are to Carson Wentz being benched. That's how bad it's been. He just tied against Cincinnati. He looked horrible against Washington.
Yeah, but again, there's literally no. They're all dropping like flies. The line is they've lost 5 linemen. I get it, I understand, but I don't think putting a rookie in is going to solve that problem over a potential MVP candidate. But let's move over to my big loser. We've been talking about him, but it is going to be Adam Thielen. A lot of hype.
My boy.
I don't mean to keep hating on him, but I think it just has to be said. I don't even know if he's going to be to the rest of the season. Gary Kubiak, their offensive coordinator, whom usually loves throwing to the running back, has been doing nothing but pushing run the ball. And they killed it. They did a great job running the ball. But that's not what helps Adam Thielen. And then you just saw Justin Jefferson break out. And they have Olabisi Johnson. They have multiple tight ends. They have Delvin Cook in the passing game. I just said he had 29 yards this week, 31 yards last week. The touchdown saved the Thielen owners this week. I don't know. I'm worried very much for him. If you can get rid of him, do it. If you can't, it's just going to be a long ride. You're going to have some good games, but his low floors are his low floors now. All right, that's our big losers.
Sorry, I'm just doing trade.
You're good, man. You're good.
Trade.
I want to ask a question, though. So now that I guess I said that, would you rather have Adam Thielen or Keenan Allen rest of the season?
Keenan Allen. Yeah. It's just I'm a big target believer. Even like AJ Green, he's getting those targets, and he hasn't produced fantasy-wise, but that's a good sign that he's getting those targets, and Keenan Allen just had 19 of them. And especially if Tyrod isn't their quarterback anymore.
That's my next question, though. What if he is? What if Tyrod comes back? Do you think we're still going to want Keenan Allen over Adam Thielen, or do you got to see more from Adam Thielen?
I mean, Minnesota doesn't want to throw the damn ball.
Yeah.
If Tyrod comes back, I don't think it's going to be for long. So
we all know what Tyrod is, and I'm sorry if Anthony Lynn goes back to Tyrod, he's asking to get fired. Simple as that. With the couple performances that Herbert has had the last 2 weeks. I mean, he took Mahomes in overtime, and look what Lamar Jackson just did with the Kansas City defense. He couldn't do anything. He threw for 97 yards, and Herbert he almost won that game a couple weeks ago. Are we all in trade talks? Are you in trade talks right now with Jeremy Popolars for Lazard as well? Yeah, I got him.
All right. Justin Jefferson or N'Keal Harry rest of season?
Jefferson.
Why don't you go with this one, Antonio?
So I battle back and forth with this one because N'Keal Harry has seemed to be the most targeted wide receiver for Cam Newton. That's obviously not saying too much when we just saw what Rex Burkhead could do. But I think I have to go Justin Jefferson. I like what N'Keal Harry brings to the table. I think he can definitely finish over 100 targets. But I think Jefferson's going to – I mean, he showed it. He can get a 175-yard game. I don't know if N'Keal Harry can do that right now in this offense. And I think that Minnesota can do that again. It will be few and far between for those kind of performances. But, the schedule for Minnesota, I don't want to say – it does get a little softer. Not that it's been, I guess, too tough, but they had Houston. Then they have Seattle. They have Atlanta. They're at Green Bay. I mean, they're going to be throwing the ball. They have to be throwing the ball. They're going to be from behind in a lot of those. So I think there's a lot of good things for him.
Yeah.
Big one, though. Big one. Dak or Josh Allen?
I'm going to go with Allen just because I'm a fanboy of Allen. But I kind of want to go with Dak too because it seems like Dallas is going to be playing behind a lot.
This is funny because in our one Dynasty League, I have Josh Allen and Dak, and I'm deciding every week between who I'm going to play.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. I mean,
so far I've been playing Dak just because I wanted to see Allen just keep doing it, and he keeps doing it. So I think this week I'm going to make the switch.
No! Don't jinx the bill.
Yeah, that's also what I'm thinking.
I mean, Dak's on pace for 773 pass attempts, guys.
Yeah. Weren't you the same guy that said they weren't going to throw the ball?
Yeah, I mean, did you see that defense?
Oh, trust me, I was the one telling all of you.
Get him, Eric.
Did you see that they're going to throw over 50 times? I mean, he's literally throwing over 40 times every single game. I mean, it's just –
that's my point. They're down. So you might as well keep playing, or you might as well play Dak if he's going to have to throw the ball 50 times a game.
I did say that if they were down – well, that's the problem was last year. When they were down, they didn't. Yeah, it's a new offense, a new regime. But that defense is so bad. They have injuries. I don't know. I have to justify myself with the injuries being the reason because their offense is clearly not the problem. But, 47 and 57 attempts the last two games.
As a lot of people, especially on Twitter, and the national media has been apologizing to Josh Allen for being wrong. I am apologizing to Dak because I think he's a better quarterback than I gave him credit for. There, I said it.
That's right.
But for having almost 1,200 yards, he's only got 5 passing touchdowns.
That's definitely concerning.
That I'm a little surprised by it, but I think they're going to turn it around. I'm hoping, like you said,
but turn what
the
around?
new
He's
offense,
got
new
over
regime,
400 yards both times. But
turn around his touchdowns.
Well, you hope so. Some positive regression maybe for him. Positive regression for Joe Mixon, like we talked about, and I know Austin Eckler has been a fan of the show tonight. Austin Eckler or Joe Mixon rest of the season. And before you answer, I did just make a trade, this exact trade.
Did you take Lazard for me?
I made this exact trade earlier before week 3. So Eckler for Joe Mixon. What do you think?
I actually have Eckler in a few leagues, and I sent out offers, Eckler for Joe Mixon, and the offers were rejected, and I'm actually happy now that they were rejected. I am actually going with Austin Eckler on this one.
Yeah, you made this trade, right?
Wow.
On Sunday morning?
I made this trade. I got Joe Mixon.
Last week I wanted Joe Mixon, but with Herbert in there, like I said, if Tyrod comes back, I don't think it's going to be for long. And with Herbert in there, the pieces for this offense, at least fantasy-wise, are much better.
Concerning thing for me, and obviously, it didn't bode well for me on Sunday. My big concern with Eckler, though, is he's got a negative ADOT right now. It's like negative 1.53, which means like he's catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and that's with Herbert. And if that stays, how much positive yards can we really expect him to be getting over and over again with all of those opportunities? Because he's going to get caught. He's going to be not be able to, I think, produce what we want, but he's getting the touches, obviously. But I don't know. That's where I think if Joe Mixon and Austin Eckler are both getting the same amount of touches, I'm going to trust that Cincinnati Bengals offense a little bit more.
Really? You're going to take the Bengals offense with a rookie – I mean, they're both rookie quarterbacks, but, I mean, you're going to take that offense that obviously their offensive line is struggling and Joe Mixon hasn't been able to do anything, where Eckler is at least putting up fantasy points for you.
He is, but the Chargers aren't putting up points. And that defense is better than Cincinnati's defense. I want a team.
Is Cincinnati putting up points?
Cincinnati's putting up some points. They score over 20 points multiple times. Burrow's got six touchdowns, I think, through the air already. But and again, the defense isn't too great either, so they're going to be chasing. And I'd rather them be chasing. Well, not chasing essentially, but Mixon's getting the ball regardless, even when they are. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily knocking Eckler so much. I really love it.
I was actually really shocked that you made that trade on Sunday morning. Eckler for Mixon.
Yeah, I thought I was buying low and selling high on Eckler. I really thought that Joshua Kelly's coming in. He's going to get a lot of touches.
And then he didn't this past week.
And then he didn't. Yeah. He did not.
All the reports all week long were saying how Kelly was going to get the ball, start him because they're playing a weak run defense and all this. But I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know anymore.
Everyone was just they were freaking out over the first few weeks.
But everyone's still freaking out about Mixon, guys. And
I am.
Last year, don't forget, Mixon didn't do well in the first half of the season. The second half of the season, he finishes like the RB3.
Yeah, well, Antonio, let me tell you something. The 2 leagues that I have Mixon, guess what? I'm 0-3. Am I allowed to freak out?
I would rather have him on an 0-3 than a 3-0. No, I'm kidding.
No.
All right.
Whatever.
But no, that's enough of Joe Mixon right now. But I do have a lot of faith in him coming back. So I think that's going to have us move on to our stressed and impressed for the week. Make sure we'll have Eric start. He can recap his 3 impresses from last week and then tell us who his next 3 impresses are going to be for week 4.
Yeah, so I finally did somewhat good on my impresses. I had Derrick Henry. He went off for a big game. Allen Robinson finally went off for a big game. Then I had Hollywood Brown, but the whole Baltimore offense just didn't do good there. And then for this week, I'm gonna go with Adam Thielen. versus the Texans. I know you guys are a little bit worried about him, but I think with the emergence of Justin Jefferson, it's actually going to take some of the coverage away from him and open things up a little bit. All three. So yeah, so I think things are going to be better for him, and I believe I said earlier I don't think Justin Jefferson is going to be playing at this kind of level every single week. Thielen's the number one there still. He's going to have more balls go his way. Then I also have Josh Jacobs, versus our Buffalo Bills. Bills have a great defense, but they let Darrell Henderson run all over them last week, and their run defense is struggling a little bit. So I think he's gonna have a good week, and he needs to have a bounce back week anyways. So and then my last one, like I said earlier, is Zach Ertz. More so just because with Goddard going down, they don't really have anybody else. He's the only one that's going to be getting targets. He has 24 targets through 3 weeks. He had 10 targets last week. So I think he's going to be pushing for double-digit targets again this week.
I like those. Those are pretty good. Yeah, and it was good that you finally were able to hit on those. So good on you there. Keenan, your turn, sir. Recap and preview.
Let's see here. Yeah, for last week I had for my impressed, I had Jonathan Taylor, who had a solid game against the Jets. Amari Cooper, I mean, I wish he would have got what Gallup got, but I guess his game to shine is going to come sooner than later. And then Kenny Drake, Kyler Murray, I don't think those guys impressed as much as I thought they would against that Detroit Lions defense, who struggled against the run game. I thought Murray and Drake would eat this past week. For week 4, I got let me see here. Guess which notes here. My first one's going to be James Robinson, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The more I watch this guy, the more I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, how did this guy slip into not being even drafted in leagues? And everyone was talking about Dobbins, Swift, a couple other rookie running backs. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire obviously deserves his respect for what he's done over in Kansas City. But, I mean, James Robinson, I think he's probably the second best rookie running back here. And, I mean, he's taking on the Cincinnati Bengals this week, which we all know their defense has struggled this past week, this early this season. My second one is going to be Darrell Henderson. Wow, what he did to the Bills defense was supposedly a good defense is amazing. And I know Sean McVay has said that the Rams are going to employ a committee, but I think Darrell Henderson is the starter for the time being. I don't think Brown is going to have much of an impact anymore. And their rookie running back, Cam Akers, that's his name. He has a rib injury. Those can linger. So start Darrell Henderson against the Giants, a very weak run defense as well. And my last impress is going to be Jarvis Landry, wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns.
Who was that?
Jarvis. I'm sorry. Excuse me. What did I say? Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry. Excuse me. Man. The Cowboys have, they're also another defense that's supposed to be good on paper, but they allowed the NFL's worst 7 touchdowns to opposing wideouts. And I mean, if now you got me all messed up, Antonio. Jarvis Landry, if he's going to play in the slot, I mean, what Tyler Lockett did this past week, he was almost uncovered in that Dallas secondary. So start Landry this week and in a flex position. I know him and Odell haven't really produced so far this year, but I think that offense is going to turn it on eventually.
All right. Okay. I'm going to move on to my impressed. So last week I had Big Ben. He didn't do too bad, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. I also had Deontay Johnson, whom we know got his concussion, left very early, had 1 catch for 9 yards. So that kind of affected how Big Ben's game worked out. And then I had Jonnu Smith, who had 5 catches for 61 yards. So that wasn't too bad, was able to be a nice PPR tight end for you there. But we obviously talked about all the crazy tight ends who did better. So this week, I have Devontae Parker versus the Seahawks. We mentioned earlier, I mentioned that Seahawks have been giving up over 400 passing yards every week, and I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to have a field day with them. They are at home. I think it's going to be a lot of motivation for Fitzmagic to just chuck it up and go. I think Parker is going to be a big benefactor of that. I have Joe Mixon. No surprise, we've been talking about him all show. So he's playing Jacksonville. I think this is the week he gets his touchdown, and he's going to continue to just keep getting the opportunities. My third one is Alan Lazard. We just saw what he was able to do on Sunday Night Football, and he was able to get a touchdown. He now has 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams is going to be coming back, and I think that Lazard's still going to get his targets. He had 6 catches, 146 yards, and a touchdown last week, but had 4 targets, 5 targets the week before, and I think he's established himself as the clear wide receiver 2. So, Eric, why don't you move on to your impresses for us? I'm sorry, to your stresses for last week and what we got this week.
Yep. My stresses for last week. My first one was Darren Waller against the Patriots. I said exactly what was going to happen. Bill Belichick was going to shut down their number one option. That's exactly what they did. He did absolutely nothing. My next one was Deshaun Watson. He actually had a pretty good game. I thought the Steelers defense was gonna shut him down, but he fantasy wise he figured it out. And my third one was Ronald Jones, and he did all right. He had like 9 points in PPR league, but he didn't do anything special. And then for this week, my first one is Cam Newton versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this one's pretty obvious, as we just saw what they did to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens last night. I just think it's going to be rough sledding for them facing the Chiefs this week. And my next one's Austin Eckler versus the Bucks. The Bucks have a very good defense. They haven't allowed a runner over 59 yards, and that was actually the best running back against them this year was Christian McCaffrey. He had 18 carries against them, only 59 yards. So they're doing pretty good in the run defense there. And I know I just said I would take Eckler over Mixon, but for this week it could be tough, especially if Tyrod's back there this week, which I'm hoping he's not going to be. That would be another knock on him. And then my last one for this week is Antonio Gibson. He started out the year with a couple touchdowns, and I know people are going to be throwing him in their running back 2 or their flex spot, but he's going up against Baltimore. They're another team that has a great run defense. And he's somebody I'm going to be pumping the brakes on this week.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, McKissick outsnapped Gibson.
I was just about to say, yeah.
Sorry. So, yeah, I like that one there. I like that one.
Yeah.
Not that he can be used in the passing game more. McKissick is just getting it right now, but I don't know. They'll figure him out eventually, but I like that one for this week.
Sure.
Keenan, your turn.
Yeah, I got my first. Or actually, let's recap last week before I forget. Last week I had David Johnson, who played Pittsburgh, and that defense looks like they're back to being the Pittsburgh defense of old. David Johnson, 13 carries for 23 yards, couple receptions. Luckily, for you fantasy owners, he got that touchdown, or that would have been a very bad week for you guys. Had Sam Darnold against Indy, couple picks. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on there in New Jersey at the New Jersey Jets facility. And that Broncos offense, I guess, what was the score of that game? I don't have it here, but
it wasn't pretty good for, I think it was like 26-10.
Yeah, so I mean that I feel like the stresses are a lot easier than the impresses, guys, huh? A lot easier to find those busts every week. I think we all done a good job there. But for this week, for a stress, I got T.Y. Hilton as my first one. When the Colts signed Phillip Rivers, I thought T.Y. Hilton was gonna, not be T.Y. Hilton of, well, Andrew Luck was the quarterback, obviously, but I thought they were going to be able to, use him downfield more. But it just hasn't happened yet. That relationship there between Hilton and Rivers is just a very, very slow start to start the season.
It's a bad relationship between Rivers and his deep arm.
Yeah, that too. Like I think we mentioned in the episode earlier in the summer that he's just not. Obviously, he's not the same Rivers. Even in before a couple of years ago, he would love to throw the ball down the field. He had a little bit of gunslinger in him. The last couple of years, I think he definitely lost some power in there. My second one is Darius Slayton. I mean, what is going on? I think Big E, you're the one that loved him after week 1, right?
I was loving him all offseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's not him. It's Daniel Jones. I mean, the guy's only thrown for a couple touchdowns in the last 3 games. And they're just not looking good. The whole team, they lost Barkley, obviously. They look like one of the worst teams in football. Both New Jersey teams are. New York, if you haven't gotten it, I'm joking with the New Jersey thing. But Slayton, he's logging 98% of snaps this past week against San Francisco, but he only managed 7 targets and had 3 receptions for 53 yards. I mean, I don't know what the heck.
Would you guys be looking to acquire Slayton in Dynasty? Could be a potential buy low right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dynasty, yeah, but redraft, no. Especially this week, he's playing. I know Joe Ramsey had a tough week against the Bills, but he's playing one of the best cornerbacks, and they'll probably shut him down this week.
Yeah, I'd be throwing around some second-round picks to Slayton owners.
Yeah.
See if anybody bites.
Yeah, second or third. I mean, kind of like what we did with Robinson before he had that breakout game, Eric.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, third probably won't. You might even I would even throw a second and third.
Yeah,
the third alone won't do it.
No, the third won't. If you could do a player in a third, maybe.
You might be able to get a second done, but if I had to, I'd throw a second and third, maybe something else.
Yeah, I'm just chucking this up as a lost season for the Giants. It's not even a lot. It's not even a season where they're going to be losing every game and can score too. It seems like they're just not going to be able to do any of that.
The problem is, like, if you trade for him in a dynasty league, is he going to be good next year?
I like Daniel Jones long term. I know he turns the ball over a lot, but I think if that line can get better, Barkley will come back. And I mean, we just keep saying we hope that they can all stay healthy, but it's been 2 seasons now of Ingram, Shepard, Tate, still Slayton, Barkley, all rotation of who can start. So I don't know, but I still like Slayton out of all that group.
Yeah, true. So my last stress is I don't know who the starter is in Tampa Bay running back wise, but my stress is the Bucs backfield. I'm pretty sure Bruce Arians hates all of our fantasy teams because one week it's Ronald Jones, the next week it's Leonard Fournette, and the following week it's throw the ball to Gronk 7 times. So I don't know what that offense is yet. I mean, even Mike, not to go off a tangent, Mike Evans isn't even getting those targets that we thought we would. But back to the running game there, try to stay away from that. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I thought I had my running back when Fournette went off. I was like, oh, here we go. Perfect. Fournette's back. And then look what Bruce Arians does to me. He rips my heart out of my body and stomps it. And I almost lost in fantasy again. But I beat Eric.
Better watch yourself.
Oh man! All right, I'll close this out here. I'll close this out with my stress. So recap: last week I had Allen Robinson. We obviously know what he had done, but what's unique? I have Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, Adam Thielen. Robert Woods and Allen Robinson had horrible first halves. They were kind of scary. You didn't know what was going to happen. Thielen had the early touchdown. But Robinson did too, actually. But after that, really had not much of anything. And then Foles came in. He got the yards. Robert Woods, they adjusted in the second half, and he was able to do well and get his touchdown. So they had some good weeks. But this week for my stress, I'm going to go with Jonnu Smith against Pittsburgh. Week 1, Evan Ingram had 2 catches. Week 2, Noah Fant, he had 80 yards and a touchdown, but it was a longer touchdown. And that's what Fant kind of does. So I'm going to chalk that up to Fant just was able to get that, but it was only on 5 catches. Last week against Houston, they had Darren Fells. He had 2 catches. I think they're going to target Jonnu Smith, especially with A.J. Brown coming back, potentially. May not even be 100%. So I think that he's going to struggle. Nick Chubb at Dallas. I love Nick Chubb. I've talked about Nick Chubb, a lot here, but I just think he might struggle against Dallas. Now, Cleveland has been showing that they're dedicated to the run, whether they're winning or losing. But Kareem Hunt's also there. He's got 39 carries so far. He's got a lot more catches than Chubb. And I think that they're going to use him, especially when they're going to be down against Dallas pretty early. So I think this might be a potential 10-carry Chubb game, and you're going to hope he breaks a 30 or 40-yard touchdown to save you. My final one is going to be Kenny Galladay versus the Saints. Marshawn Lattimore should be shadowing him. He's coming back. He came back this week, had a touchdown. I think that he still isn't fully 100%. And this week, like I said, coming back to play against them. So I think it'll be an interesting matchup between Galladay and Lattimore.
I'm shocked that you got Chubb on your list. See, before we started the show a couple hours ago, you're trying to trade for him, and now you got him on your stressed. You playing some mind games over here?
Just for this week, I think it's going to be in general, like I said, he had 10 carries week 1 against Baltimore. He had 60 yards. He was efficient, but then Kareem had 13 carries, and they got down early and often. They are 2-1, but they just played against Washington, where let's agree they were able to kind of do whatever they wanted. They controlled the game for the most part for the whole time. And then week 2, they were playing against Cincinnati, and we were just talking about how bad their defense was. So the 39 rushes and the 8 catches from Kareem Hunt just kind of scare me a little bit. And that's not to worry the Chubb owners, but if you do have Chubb, I might be trying to trade him and package him for a top end player like a Kamara if you can, maybe like a DJ Moore, Nick Chubb, if that's something as high as you can get to, or
a lot.
Yeah, you're gonna need to give up a lot. Maybe Chris Godwin and Nick Chubb you can get rid of right now.
That's too much.
But Godwin's gonna be out for a couple weeks. I don't know.
Too much for my liking, man.
Godwin scares me this season. I'm gonna be honest. This is gonna be now 3 out of 4 weeks he's missing for a hamstring. Hamstrings tend to linger.
It was a concussion, first one.
Oh yeah, that's true. The first one was the first one. Yeah, but did he have off-season issues? Maybe I don't know.
But
the hamstrings. I hope it doesn't linger at all. But Evans had the hamstring. That's what it was.
The thing is, if you give up 2 top players like Chubb and Godwin, or Chubb and DJ Moore for Kamara, and Kamara goes down, your season's done. Then you pretty much lost 3 players there. If you think about it.
Well, but that would go for any 2-for-1 deal.
Look at me. I lost Barkley. And I still, kept the rest of my roster intact, and I'm 2-1 in both leagues. So,
again, that would go for any 2-for-1 deal. I got Kareem Hunt and AJ Brown in one league that I'm benching every week. I've been trying to package them for someone.
Well, you got AJ Brown in it.
If you can get a guy like Kamara, I think you have to do it because he's a league winner. So you can't worry about a potential injury because what was that?
You should have drafted him if he was a league winner.
Well, yeah, only one player could draft him. Come on now. But what I was saying, but you have to go if you can do that. You can't worry about injury because any player can get injured.
I worry about it. The only reason I worry about the 2-for-1 is if that one player that you do get back in a trade goes down, your roster is pretty much depleted. But
you're making that trade but essentially you're making that trade for depth. If you're giving up 2-for-1, it's a depth move.
Well, no, but I'm talking about the person that's getting the one. Your depth is gone.
It may, but I've been trying to trade 2-for-1 for Michael Thomas. If he gets re-injured, I'm still going to try my best to figure out. I don't know if it's fully over, but that's why you're not making these moves if you can't necessarily do it. But I was just saying I'm a little worried for Chubb this season, which could become long-term because they keep with Kareem Hunt. But Stefanski seems very committed to using both of them. That's wrapping up the Stress and Impress though for the week. That's also going to wrap up the show. Anybody have any closing thoughts?
Should we talk any Mafia Market quick or?
I haven't made it. Wednesday's my big trade. My big trade day. I make at least 1 or 2 trades on every Wednesday.
Yeah, I know we've been slacking with the Mafia Market. It's been quiet. I don't know. You're right. I haven't made much redraft trades yet either. I've been sending a lot out, but
I've made a few. Not in redraft, but in dynasty leagues.
Oh yeah, you got some Dynasty ones. Throw one out here. So
Yeah. Well,
let's
both
talk
Keenan
about
and I
the.
traded for James Robinson. We'll talk
Yeah,
about that first.
I don't give you enough credit for that. I want to thank you for that, by the way, because if I didn't know,
hooking my man up. So we're in a league that has 4 divisions, and each division has 12 teams. So it's a huge league, and there was multiple James Robinson owners that had Robinson on the block, and
are we
I
in the
was
same
talking
division?
to a few of them. Was that?
Are we in the same division?
Yeah, we are.
So how can we both have Robinson?
You could have 4 copies in one division.
Yeah, it's a 4-copy league, 48-team league. So there's 4 divisions of 12 players, but there could be 4 of the same copy of like 4 Saquon Barkleys in one division.
You just can't have 2 on
Everybody
the same
can trade.
team.
Right.
But
That's where I'm getting confused.
so they both owners wanted a second and a third. So I both were offering me a second and a third, or were offering me James Robinson for a second and a third, and I ended up getting the one to take. Well, he actually countered me, and he countered me after we were talking, and he gave me James Robinson for a second and Golden Tate.
I think you got the better deal out of me and you.
Dynasty wise,
I value a third more than I value Golden Tate, but I mean not that much more. But
yeah, but then Keenan ended up getting another copy of Robinson for a second and a third.
Yeah, and it's all thank you to you, that you mentioned that, because when I saw that, I was like, I got to beat Anthony before he texts this owner, because I know
I was at work. I was so mad. I didn't see it at work. I saw it back later, and I'm like, wow, I would have sent that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and the guy accepted it right away, which was
hey, when you're right, you're right.
And we have that big group chat as well, and someone complimented us saying that we did a good job jumping on him before his breakout game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, because if you would have tried to get him on Friday, good luck. Would have been 2 firsts and Golden Tate.
Yep. But
I did draft him.
So did I.
In one league.
So did I don't want to go crazy here on him, but
not that I didn't know much prior at all.
Yeah, where did this guy come from? Did we even talk about him in the offseason?
No, a lot of people didn't all. Undrafted at Illinois State. Mm-mm.
It's crazy, dude.
And I mean, obviously, why would you? I mean,
I think the Jags just kind of kept him on the down low.
Yeah, they had Armstead from last year. They had Fournette. They wanted to trade him and couldn't. I mean, he was literally on.
We looked at all the depth of all the team's depth charts, and we did our research, and he just didn't stick out to us for some reason.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it's a Philip Lindsay. It's a Philip Lindsay scenario, so
hopefully
that can go well for that. And yeah. Well, that's like I said, that's going to end the show for us. So thank you all for listening. Hopefully your week 4s go just as well as the rest of the season. Like we said, make sure you guys keep on going. If you're 3-0, 2-1, congrats. If you're 0-3, 1-2, just keep on pushing. And I can't believe we're going to be a quarter of the way through the season already. So we'll catch you guys next week. Mafia out.